cameras in the trucks. Are you for or against cameras in your truck? Trucker Terrence here. I'm out here at a job site getting offloaded, delivering trees today. I wanted to talk about a topic that maybe I don't hear talked about as much in the trucking world, and that is cameras. Cameras in the trucks. Are you for or against cameras in your truck? So inside the cab, I got my phone holder. This one's real good and convenient. Got my suicide knob here. Need that. And we got GPS right here. Rand McNally. And of course, we got Big Brother right there. Look at that. Staring me in my face all day long. One thing we always need, a good trucker hat. I like this one right here. So, my first trucking job, I worked for a water company delivering water, and they had cameras in the trucks. I worked there for about a year and a half, and yeah, it's annoying. It's annoying. There's a lot of things that with cameras in the truck that you just can't do. And the company that I worked for, they had front-facing cameras, in-cab cameras, cameras in the back, so they could see, pretty much all around the truck. They had the top 360 cameras, so they pretty much can see everything you're doing, where you're at, what's going on. You pick your nose, you do anything, it's going to be recorded. At that company, they used like an AI software where it automatically knows if you go to eat something, drink something, so somebody doesn't physically have to be watching you at all times. But if you drink something, eat something, if you're on your cell phone, if you're falling asleep or whatever the case may be, the camera picks up on that. So it's like constantly watching you. And I'm not a fan, but there are pros and cons to the camera. So the front facing part, I get it. If cars try to jump in front of you, cut you off, brake check you, they jump on the brakes and try to cause an accident just so they can get like an insurance payout. People do that. And it's important if you can catch that on camera. If you can catch those people trying to scam, it'll save you. It'll save you behind. It'll save the company from having to pay out. I get the front facing camera thing. The in cab camera thing, I'm torn on that. So maybe about 85% of me is like, we should not have the in cab cameras. That 15% is like, all right, well, if you are falling asleep behind the wheel, it's your fault. You're liable. You kill somebody. That's your fault. We really don't want people blame shifting. If you've like fallen asleep and you cause an accident and you kill a family or whatever, yeah, no, you should be accountable for what you do. If you're drunk behind the wheel or under the influence behind the wheel, or you're just being haphazard and you're driving, if you're like smoking a cigarette and you drop your cigarette and you cause an accident and kill a family, yeah, no, you should be held accountable for that. I think that part. But but the other stuff, I'm driving and I'm on the road for 2-3 hours at a time. If I take a sip of water, man, they can kiss my ass on that. They don't want you. They don't want you drinking. They don't want you putting a piece of gum in your mouth. There are things that I want to do to stay active. If my mouth is getting dry, if I'm getting parched, I should be able to take a sip of water or take a sip of my coffee while I'm on the road. I don't think that's a bad thing. I want to put a piece of gum in my mouth. I don't think that's a bad thing. Now, should you be eating like a whole hoagie and driving with your knee? I don't think you should be doing none of that goofy shit. But we should have more leeway than they want us to have. The company that I work for right now, we just got cameras in the trucks. They have forward-facing and in-cab cameras now. And I'm getting through it. I'm not a fan. I liked it when we didn't have the cameras, but I get the front-facing. But the in-cab, like, they haven't said anything to me yet. I'm willing to push some boundaries. I'm going to take some sips of coffee. They just going to have to say something to me. Write it up. Write it up. There's some times where I'm going from like New Jersey to Long Island and it's like a 3 hour drive. Man, I'm drinking some water or I'm sipping my coffee. That's what I'm gonna do. That's what's happening. That's what's happening. And I'm gonna chew some gum. There's certain things that I like to do when I'm on the road that, it's just things that I like to do to keep myself alert, just to pass the time, really. all the drivers that work at the company, they had us all go to a thing that they call like a driver rodeo. And during that driver rodeo, which is once a year, they explained to us that we're going to get the cameras. They told us like 2 months in advance. And at that point, I was like, okay, maybe it's time to start looking. Maybe it's time to start looking for something different. Find me a place that don't have cameras, man, because I'm not with that camera shit, man. The in-cab cameras, front facing, it's cool. I'm okay with the front facing, but the in-cab cameras, man, I really don't like it. Like I said, about 85% of me is on the side of not wanting the in-cab cameras. And then, we can get written up if we like cover up the camera, because some of the people that worked at the water company that worked at, some people put like band-aids and stickers on the in-cab cameras, and then they would get written up for that shit, man. So the companies don't like when you do that. The AI software that the company that owns the cameras uses, it knows when you have the camera covered in-cab, and it'll ding you. So it is what it is. But yeah, I just wanted to touch on that one topic, man. Let me know how y'all feel about in-cab cameras or not. Would you work for a company that has in-cab cameras, front-facing cameras, 360 cameras? Is that a deal breaker for you? When we had that driver rodeo, they justified it like, well, all the companies are starting to get this. It's going to be in all the trucks, so you just got to get used to it. And I'm like, man, that bullshit, man. That's bullshit. You lying like a man. Hell no. There are a lot of companies that do adopt that camera system, but it's not all of them. It's not all of them. And I get it. It's for insurance purposes. The company gets a lower rate on their insurance if they have front-facing and in-cab cameras. It keeps the driver more accountable. But yeah, I don't like it. It's like Big Brother watching you at all times. You pick your nose, they know. You sneeze, they know. You're eating, you're eating lunch or you're eating. No, man, man, hell no. Who wants to be just constantly watched every day? Camera just staring at you right in your face. That shit is annoying. Got the Kenworth. Yep, I see it. It's what we delivering today. And I'll be having a tarp sometimes. It'd be tough work sometimes, but it's what I signed up for. I just wanted to tap in, see what y'all think. Let me know. Let me know in the comments. Is that a deal breaker for y'all? Front facing, rear facing cameras. I'll see you on the next one. Trucker Terrence, I'm out.